Hit record. Okay, good morning, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining me for version 2 of The Factors. Wait, is there like a show called The Factors or something like that? Is there some kind of The View? I guess it's The View. I don't think this would be The View. But good morning, everyone. We'll talk about The Factors today. Version 2, we're going to go a little deeper dive. Markets changing, as we know. This is just driven mostly by interest rates, as it's playing on the ability to purchase. Probably call the X factor. That's right, Jill. The X factor, the view. Got it. Okay. Fear factor. Yes. Okay. Well, we don't want to be the fear factor today, but appreciate that. Thanks, guys, for weighing in. Yeah, the market's playing on this, mostly driven by interest rates. We're seeing, we're now topping at about 6.8%. We probably will see 7. Your guess is as good as mine about, how far this is probably going to go. Obviously, this is driven by an attempt for the Feds to control interest rate, or not interest rates, but inflation. So we have a lot of factors that play in on economy and our overall market. Jobs are usually the #1 factor for driving real estate sales. And we have an amazing job report in Utah. We lead the nation, as we talked about yesterday in sales meeting. So I want to do a deeper dive into the factors, because what's happening is you're getting questioned on whether or not the property will sell, how long it will take. And the longer your listing is on the market, the more you become a potential target. And so I want to make sure that we set proper expectations, create proper expectation. And that's what this discussion is all about. How does that sound to everyone? Is that good? Is it worth a further second dive here? Yes? Okay. So let me share screen, and let's first take a look at something to put everything in perspective. So I just grabbed Salt Lake County, but and I did show this quickly in sales meeting, but I just want to make sure you guys are getting the message here. This is from 2012. There's 10-year pattern of days on market only. Okay, so here we are right now at September. We're at 26 days on market. This has actually come back down just a little bit from yesterday. I think. Well, I added Davis County actually. So maybe Davis County's got a little longer days on market, was throwing this off. But this is just Salt Lake County. Run your own report, of your own county and see the trend. We're very seasonal as Utah, as we know, but I just wanted to, make sure you have perspective. In 2022, it's 26, but if we go back to September 19, let me find that. Where are you? Right here. We're 25 days on market, so we're essentially the same 19, off by just a few days, 26 to 25. So we're the same days on market as we were in 2019. Remember, our CEO, our leader, our captain, Steve said, we should probably use 2019 as a baseline and don't really compare to 21 and 22, because they were really outliers, and it throws every statistical analysis off. And it's just not wise to be looking at an overheated market as some kind of base to compare. So if we do throw those two out and we start looking at the seasonal up and down, look at this roller coaster. As it follows the seasonal patterns, we cap out about 35. Here's a 36, 29 days on market, 25, 28. In 2014, which was still a pretty good rebounding market, it was still 54 days on the market at the peak in the winter. We bottom out, really hot markets. We've been beneficiary of a long pattern of really good markets. I'm not sure we're going to see, these tens and single-digit days on market next summer. We're likely to see something, more like 15, 20 days on market as we bottom out. That's probably what we're going to see. So, look, I just want to make sure that we're putting everything in perspective. Our sellers need to make sure and understand that they've got to give time for the right buyer to come along. Okay, let me show you. This is kind of what I'm working from this morning, is this list, which I showed, I think, on sales meeting. So this should look somewhat familiar. These first 3, I think, are really critical as you compare and track data that supports price range competition, geographical competition, and amenity competition. I think you really got to do that. I think you got to look at, and what I mean by amenity is asking yourself, what is the best feature of this property? So if it's a true ski in, ski out, then how do we compare to other features like that? If we have a private pool, if we have an RV garage, if we have a main floor master, then I think we need to look at all main floor masters, and this is how we compare. Are all RV garages, how do we compare? All private pools, how do we compare? Let's take a geographical study. Obviously, this is neighborhood specific. So anything else that's selling within that neighborhood. So I'd say Old Town, boom. Everything in Old Town, what's going on? That one sold. Why did this one not sell? And try to get some answers. I would like to get away from any kind of knee-jerk reaction. If it hasn't sold, let's look at price. I get that that's like, here's 2 aspirin, call me in the morning. Most patients are fine. That's why doctors got a bad rap for, if you just get us some sleep and, here's 2 aspirin, you're probably going to be okay. Well, yes, price can make up for everything, but we owe it to our clients to make sure we look at this different perspective through these 3 points: price, location, and amenities. Okay. Let me stop sharing for a second and let's just kind of debate these things and I love your input. What's your insights on this? So we've got a price market. So if I'm at 750,000, I might have a buyer that's looking from, 600 to 850, 900. There's my competition range. If I've got a listing in the Willow Creek subdivision, then I'm looking at everything in Willow Creek that could compare, right? Or if I'm in Salt Lake County, we often say things like above 13th or above 20th, or, I'd say something like South Jordan, or I'd say Daybreak. And I start compiling what an area market is. And then the last one, of course, we got price point, we got geographical area, and then we've got the amenity. Anything you want to add to that? Am I missing something on those first 3? Any insights? Come on, you're the best of the best. You must have some point of view on this. No? Okay. See, it's a tough crowd, John. See, Zoom is the toughest crowd, I'm telling you. Yeah, lifestyle. Hey, that's a good point. You know what, Pat? I've heard lifestyle. This is my 31st year in the real estate business, and I don't think I got it until the last couple of years. I really don't think I got it. We have lifestyle in the whole state. Maybe that's why I didn't get it. But we have hyper lifestyle in some locations where the amenities and what that means to your life are huge influences. Now, so I guess we could say I could get that lifestyle a couple other areas. Here's where I think I started to get it. My brother bought a property in Victory Ranch. We got to know Red Ledges better. My daughter bought a property in Desert Color. And all of these were hyper lifestyle locations where the amenities were very unique. You can't find them anywhere else. And it started to change what their, daily patterns were. What do I do in the morning? My brother would say, hey, I'm just want you to know, I'm walking down to the river, put a fly on the water. And he was doing this a lot. He said, I'm walking on the golf course. So his life changed, his lifestyle changed. I think that's a big deal. How would that, do we need a place for that in this outline, or does it fall under something? I suppose in my head, when I go hyper lifestyle or lifestyle, that would have to do with amenities. It's also could have something to do with the geographical location. So if I said something like Red Ledges, Red Ledges I could define by an area. And within inside Red Ledges, I've got the amenities unique to Red Ledges, just as an example. Daybreak in Salt Lake County, you guys, for all of you in Salt Lake County, if you haven't been out to Daybreak, you don't get it unless you're there. Like, go on a Friday and there's a band playing, and rent some paddle boards and go around the lake and walk to open air dining where it doesn't even look like Utah. I was surprised, and really, really surprised. If you live on a golf course, that's lifestyle, where you can walk out, golf easily. Our good friend and fellow leader, Lance May, is his house backs up to, I can't remember what hole it is, but he's right on Willow Creek. He's a big golfer, and his kids are big golfers. Yeah, the equestrian, another really good point from Pat, you guys. So an equestrian would be, this is the horse amenity. And that makes my point where if you have got something that, like the horse barns and the outbuildings that, you've got your stable and your tack rooms and things like this, well, we shouldn't be comparing that just to, say, an RV garage. We need to compare that to other like kind, and that becomes our market. Let's see, what does Jill say? Days on market in that area. Well, yeah, I mean, we'd have days on market in Victory Ranch. We'd have it in Desert Color. We'd have it in Daybreak. We'd have it in Willow Creek. What is days on market for those areas? That might help me with amenities. If I need to go a little deeper and look at only properties with amenities, then I could be way outside of Willow Creek, because I don't have to be Willow Creek to have a golf experience, right, Peter? I mean, if I've got someone who loves golf, there's other golf courses that are high end on the east side. So I want to make sure that I look at it through these lenses. Okay, and we're talking about just the top three here. We'll move on to, condition market and marketing, finance, and that sort of thing. So John is saying, I think that the lifestyle is a micro market of an overall market. I believe that's very, very true. I think that's very, very true, because inside lifestyle is the amenity. And that's been, look, the reason why I woke up at 3 a.m. and the 6 factors became 7 factors is because of this discussion right here. Yeah, I realize that we have to look at our listings through what is their unique feature, and we have to compare it with inside its own market and competition with those same amenities. Otherwise, we could be giving improper advice. Like knee-jerk reaction to reposition a property by price might be premature, given the fact that, say, we're the only equestrian listing, in, say, Draper under $2 million. So perhaps we should stay patient. Can we use the freeway proximity to amenities? Well, it seems like the commute issue, Julie, is not as prevalent as it used to be. I mean, we used to be very traditional, especially in Salt Lake Valley, where you're getting on the freeway and going downtown, and you go to work and you come back, or you go to the hospital, you come back. There's just thousands and thousands of people that were going up and down I-15. They still do. I'm not really sure. I suppose you could. Probably wouldn't be my favorite thing to compare, but it's a good point. I think it's a selling feature, certainly a selling feature. And I live in Cottonwood Heights. Well, our second house is in Cottonwood Heights. I'm not at Cottonwood Heights right now. I'm broadcasting live from a satellite location in Dixie Springs, Washington County, southern Utah. It's beautiful. Palm trees out my view here. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I live in a proximity to freeway where we are in Cottonwood Heights. It's right by the old mill office. If you guys know, that's where my house is. So it's really nice to get on the freeway. I can be to a jazz game in 15 minutes or a concert in 15 minutes. Gateway, it's fast and easy. So, and I love 215 for that. And I suppose we could look at those things. All of those are great points, you guys. All right, if there's anything that comes up, you guys please weigh in. Let's go to the other factors. So we move on to condition. This is another reason why I wanted to have the class again. So because in the book, in the manual, I put, I think I debate somewhere in here about what condition I think means. Certainly every property is aging, and so decor and style, I suppose I could put that in. Styles change. And so, you know, we kind of become either dated or updated. Let's make a note here. Probably won't keep it exactly like this. This becomes overall issue of condition, but can I pose something? Can we solve condition with price? Well, that's obvious. You guys are too, yeah, of course we can. We can solve almost every one of these with price. But should we look at, there's a difference, I think, in looking at just condition itself and just saying we're not competing in the price range market. Okay, so I want to make this point. If we're not competing in price range market, that means like our either our per square foot or our, you know, our comps don't support the price, and other properties are priced less, and it's being proven out because they're going on to under contract status. That means we're not competing in price. But that's very different than the issue we have is a condition issue, and we're going to compensate for that by adjusting the price. So, you know, let's make sure that we understand the reason we're making a price reduction as it relates to condition. Okay, I'm not sure if there's anything else. Well, I put styles here. It just reminds me that when, look, in Salt Lake County, well, maybe a lot of our counties have this, but we still have split entries. They should be compared to other split entries if you can. I think ramblers to ramblers and multi-levels to multi-levels, because you know, there's buyer demographics that are not fond of some of those floor plan or styles. So make sure that when you're looking at the lenses of comps that you're using the same almost appraisal requirements instead of just doing, you know, whatever. Like ramblers and splits can often be grouped together rather than not be. And that's a floor plan that we don't see anymore. Okay, anything else on condition? Stop sharing for a sec. Anything else on condition issues? So we have a staging guide also that can come up for just, you know, how do we get a home ready for sale? And it makes some hard, you know, more challenging discussions a little easier. Any thoughts on that one? Roxanne brings a point about, yeah, being careful about fair housing and steering in a lifestyle. So the protected categories in fair housing don't include things like a golfer, even though they're weird animals. I could probably say the same thing about fishermen. They're an interesting group too. But yeah, they're not, yeah, Lance, exactly. Where is Lance? Oh, hey, Bob. Yeah, I love you, man. Love you. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I don't have any problems with golfers. But where could we get in trouble with fair housing issues is obviously familial status and, you know, kids or no kids, married or not married. Gender and sexual orientation, nationality, so things like that. When we're talking about lifestyle, we're talking about people who say, you know, they are horse folks. Great, no protected category. They're a golfer, no protected category. They like to bike or hike, what have you, not a protected category. So Lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can, steering has a, steering is a legal term directing people to or away areas, which we've learned in real estate school. Directing people to hyper lifestyle locations is not steering. It's not illegal. Like if I said, hey, you guys might really enjoy Daybreak, you might want to go take a look at that. That's a whole different lifestyle, whether it fits you or not. And remember, I'm not saying anything about their familial status. I'm not saying, oh, like it would be improper for me to say something like, well, families go to Daybreak, which I don't even know if that's true, because, I don't even know what a family, like, is there a definition of a family anymore? Traditionally it used to be, two married people with children, but family means a lot of things to a lot of people. And of course we've learned to respect that. And, but I might say something like, it would be improper for me to say someone like, well, people with kids go to Daybreak, that's not proper. So thanks for bringing that up, Roxanne. Let's see, Jill. I always suggest to sellers, if there's anything that looks like a particular, fix those items. Yeah, I know we should walk through the house with fresh eyes. People who've lived there a long time can often overlook those things, and it's better to get those fixed. It did come up, you've probably heard this debate about having a pre-inspection. What are the legalities to that? Is there anything wrong with that? Or, should we recommend that? I don't see anything wrong with having a pre-inspection. What I do see wrong with having pre-inspection and then not sharing the information that was obtained during the inspection that might be negatively affecting the property, that we would have a problem with. So, and I've also had people I have a problem with it. Well, I'm not going to run the report because I don't want to know what I would find. So that's a problem too. Because they might be, like it reminds me of the guy who told the plumber, do not put a camera down that sewer line. I don't want to know what's down there. Later on, that was a lawsuit for $75,000. Ended up in mediation and a settlement. I believe it was just under 30 grand. I can't remember exactly, but it was, he was lucky to get away with just that. So yeah, if you want to, the items that need fixed, thanks for bringing that up, Jill. Appreciate that. What about discussing timing since we live in multiple season area? So when you're talking about timing, Julie, you're talking about how long it may take to sell? Want to weigh in on that, Julie, or you can unmute?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Timing with respect to listing your home, if you don't have to, and you're thinking about, do I list now? Do I try and list it before the next interest rate hike? Do I wait till spring? What does spring look like in terms of, are we in a deeper recession? And then of course the 4 seasons that we enjoy in Utah. Is it better to list one during one season or another? Well, we all know spring is, but it's a different world now. So just thinking about all those things as I discuss this with my client.
So would you rather go fishing in a river that has a ton of fishermen and a ton of fish, or would you rather go fishing in a river that has very little fishermen and a smaller amount of fish? Most fishermen going, well, I don't want to be around anybody. That's the whole point of going fishing, Will. I don't want to see people. Look, I've talked about this before. This is a huge point to understand. In residential real estate, it's not all about the economic factors, about the best return. It's really about the problem that we're trying to solve. So is the pain of staying the same in the same conditions greater than the pain to change? And how great are those pains? I mean, if you have the ability to wait, well, then would you prefer to wait? And if you want to prefer to wait, then why would that be? You've got to have to get down to what is the family going through, the individuals going through that needs to change? Why are we even talking about moving? And then when you understand the reason for that, Now we've got perspective about whether or not we should spend more money, whether we're going on the market now. I mean, we have plenty of people who list their properties in December and January. There's a lower amount of buyers. Yes, there's a lower amount of sales, but we also have a lower amount of inventory traditionally going into those months. Now, remember, we're going to throw out 21 and 22. Okay. So I think it has more to do with what problem we're trying to solve as the timing goes. I mean, I get it. Maybe wait till spring, but why are we waiting till spring? Because it's better timing for the family. I don't know that we should do everything based on, just what this market is doing. The market is only the obstacles. It isn't the reason. I'm going to say you buyers or sellers right now, the market is not the reason. It's only the obstacle. And I could have said that in 21 when you guys were writing 12 to 20 offers per buyer before you had one accepted and you were pulling your hair out, right? Remember that? And now you've got a little bit more to look at. Now you got a little time now, but now we've got something else. Okay. So we still come back to the same thing. What's the pain that we're trying to fix, and that's the why, and then everything else is just the obstacles that are in the way. But Julie, you brought up something, and I think the point of this is to set proper expectation with sellers. So I do think we needed to have a bigger discussion about what to expect, about how long it may take to sell the property. Okay. So as we're seeing days on market increase for two reasons. One, we're coming out of a hyper fast-paced 2-year cycle, and we're getting back to a more traditional market. We're also seeing the seasonal impact of just it takes longer to sell a property because the buyer pool is coming back. Has more to do with season, or just as much to do with season as it has to do with interest rates. Okay. And you go back to that graph and you can show them that. So, we need to be prepared, sellers. Remember, if the average days on market, say 25 to 30, okay, that means we've got a good chunk of listings that are taking 60 days to sell. Right? So 2 months. 31 years in the market, guys. I've seen, how many different markets? 4, 5 cycles, 6 cycles. A lot of this sounds like deja vu to me. Here we go again with the same kind of advice and lenses to look through as it takes a little bit longer to sell. Let's see. Yeah, good. All right, love the fish comments. All right, let's go on to the next one. Let's do this next one. So the reason there's a lot more on this, and we took the time, and look, Steve is always saying, but look at the good news, right? So this is not exactly, of course, it's not like the recession. If we had the economic indicators of the recession, we would have job losses. We would have unemployment rising. We would have an oversupply. But we don't have an oversupply, we have an undersupply. Instead of seeing jobs rescind, we have jobs creation. We actually lead the nation in jobs. Okay, so, we're not seeing that. Really, we're just having the effect of an interest rate adjustment. And if you look at a 20-year picture of interest rates, a 6.8 or even a 7%, it's not so bad. I mean, I think my first loan was just under 9%. I know many of you could probably say you had an interest rate of 12 or 15%. So anyway, that's just understand overall economics, jobs, supply, and demand, and you can run an absorption rate by taking the actives and grouping them with your under contracts, and then looking at the under contract percentage based on that whole. And that would give your absorption rate in your area, in your geographical area analysis. We're watching the net immigration, but Utah still has a positive net immigration. Jamie brought up that the governor economic forecast, and I'm gonna go pull that, but I think it was done back in February. So I'm not, I mean, I don't know that we have an immigration report that we could look to right now, but I'm gonna see if I can find something. Okay, when we get down to marketing, I added another item in here. And matter of fact, put in the chat, will you, what I'm missing on marketing? We could make a really long list here. Marketing should be the overall exposure of the property. I know that's I could probably make a graph here and have exposure be the, the whole issue, the universal concept. And within inside the exposure, we have photos, video, syndication, private or personal networking, MLS, and MLSs. So I've added that. A lot of you are posting properties on multiple MLSs or are trying to reach buyer agents in different areas. I mean, down here in Washington County, it's very common for us to post property on Iron County as well, and also the Wasatch Front MLS. So something to think about when a property isn't sold and we're trying to do an analysis to why it hasn't sold. We're looking at a lot of different factors here. Buyer agent compensation, thank goodness that all the 2s and 2.5s are starting to fade away, and that ridiculousness that we had to deal with, all of a sudden everybody wants to pay their buyer agent. So, I have to admit that was not fun for the brokers to deal with, and I know you as well, but we were constantly just feeling, like, I mean, we have a policy of 3%, and I know it wasn't reciprocated, and it drove us nuts. And, it felt like someone was dipping in our pocket to take the 3, but, wouldn't play ball when it came time when they list a property. And we debated a lot of time around this, but isn't that funny that that's all of a sudden evaporating out, So signage, social media, digital, print, general and targeted advertising. Okay, give me the list. What am I missing here? I wonder if how do I get my chat up? I can see you guys. Here we go. Okay, what am I missing? What could I add to marketing here? Nothing? I thought about doing not just compensation, but incentives. We'll see things like a 4% BAC or $1,000 agent bonus if it's closed by December 1st. Seen that. Anything else, guys? So quiet today.
Could it be like an assumable low interest rate loan or seller financing or something like that?
Well, that would be our next category
here.
Okay. But I'm with you. I wonder if do we need to say something about not just the property, but the terms? So we're marketing the terms. Huh. You guys, you see what I'm saying, you guys? Like, do we need to look at it through, are we marketing the terms? Like, are we marketing if a seller was going to be the lender? Should maybe we should need to do that. Huh.
Jill had mentioned doing a pre-certified home, kind of like a pre-certified car, and where you order the inspection beforehand and have that as part of your listing disclosures.
Okay. So that it was already inspected? Is that the idea, that the property?
Yeah, so that it's already inspected and the buyers know, hey, this is a really great home. It's move-in ready. I don't have to worry about anything. Or if something came up on the inspection, you can address it and say, my sellers took care of it.
Okay. So gosh, maybe I need to say, I'm just gonna, gonna write this out and then see if I can change my mind later. So the exposure of property and terms, God, condition. I don't know. I'll think about that one. Huh. Interesting idea. I like it. This is why we do this. Anything else? Oh yeah, we didn't have like an open house, even though I guess that would be general marketing. That's not really, yeah, let's put open house. Yeah, I like that. Photo, video, MLS, buyer compensation, agent incentive, signage. Okay, so we could do public or broker. Open, geez, can't type this morning. Open house. Okay. Actually change that to this here. Good one. Nice catch. Who did that? Oh, Bob. Nice job, Bob. Yeah, we can certainly, I think we could tie general marketing around marketing for the open house. So that's a good one too, Julie. Anything else, you guys? So what this will end up being is this is not only a way to set and create expectation, but it's also a way to diagnose problems that we may have with a listing that's on the market for a while. We may want to take a look at how well are we doing these things, so we can test it against these items. Rachel, what do you mean by professional ad copy? Can you verbalize that? You guys all know Rachel Moody.
Sorry, it's a little busy in my home office here, so it might be a little loud. But professional ad copy, how you display, how you talk about the property, what you say, how your ad copy.
Okay. Okay. So the grammar, the words, the adjectives that we use.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
What goes into your presentation in general?
I think it's a really good point. I mean, have you guys ever read agent remarks or remarks on the MLS and thought, oh my gosh, this is brutal, or even a flyer?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, some people don't know how to present through words the property, and it can make or break, a presentation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. God, how am I going to say that, right? How do I say
ad copy?
Right.
That's what I call it. And that's how we talk in terms of, like, when the listing's ready to go, I always say my ad copy's ready. But I don't know if that's the proper way or not, but that's what we call it.
Yeah, descriptors. It's not bad either, John. And only those who've been on this coaching session will know what we mean. Okay, I'm going to go professional ad copy for now, and then let's see how we do. So the way we describe, the way we not verbally describe, but the way we describe using our words. I've got when my 2-year-old granddaughters get upset and they start, because all 2-year-olds whine for stuff, and we're always saying, use your words. So I'm like, the words we use, the way we describe. Okay, good stuff. Anything else? Am I moving on? Okay. If you think of anything else, let me know. So here, now we come down to financing. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. We've got, availability, costs, rates, the traditional form of financing. versus seller participation like carrybacks or wrap mortgages. This is going to be a really, really hot topic next week. We're doing some research. If you caught, Tim Peterson is digging up some options for us to consider. Like there may be some new products coming out that can be second mortgages that can be attached onto a wrap mortgage concept. We're also trying to take a legal view of whether or not we could or should advise any seller to participate in such things. Get a running start at this. We all know. So look, we all know. I'm assuming we know, but simple assumptions died early 90s because I can't remember exactly when the last FHA simple assumption loan was given, but in the early 90s, simple assumptions died. The idea was you didn't have to qualify. You came with down payment and you assumed the loan. The other party is still liable for the amount. So then we had qualified assumptions, which is what FHA and VA and other programs similar to those have a qualified assumption loans, which could be very, very attractive if their rate is 3%, right? So then our obstacle is going to be, well, how do we bridge the gap in the loan balance that we want, say at 3% versus the sales price? So, you think, well, first it's cash. Well, if they don't have cash, now what? Well, we could get a second mortgage, or we could do a carryback. And a carryback is, of course, a seller financing option where they put in an amount that they carry. Many of these will have balloons attached to them, so it's only a short fix, balloon in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5, something like that, meaning they're going to have to refinance later. So this carries a lot of legal risk for anyone who's going to be a lender, because once you become the lender, you have to agree to foreclosure proceedings, and they're not a tenant. Okay, so you pass the deed, so it can be very legally risky. So we're going to come up with a kind of a way to look at this. I would say that how many of you are familiar with the seller financing addendum? The UAR seller financing addendum. You feel like here, welcome to our new world. Now we're talking about seller financing. Seller financing addendum is in tab 4 on your forms manual. But paragraph 6 inside the seller finance addendum is due on sale. So the reason why we have qualified assumptions, because the lender is saying that the loan is unique to the borrower and cannot be assumed. And if it is assumed, then it would be due on sale, meaning the balance would be owed. Okay, I'm going to draw your attention to something. It's the sentence in paragraph 6 says, if the holder of the underlying mortgage calls the loan due as a result of this transaction, buyer agrees to discharge the underlying loan as required by the mortgage lender. In such event, seller's remaining equity shall be paid as provided in the credit documents. So what in the world is it? Why is it saying if? Why is it not just saying when? Well, because it's contemplating that the lender may not ever call the loan due. And of course, the problem we have with this is that we're all about disclosure, aren't we? And so we think, dear Wells Fargo, we just sold the property in a wrap mortgage. Thought we would let you know. Right? And you go, really? I would do so because that's how we should be thinking. Okay. So stay tuned on this. We're going to get a legal opinion as to whether or not, I've been down this road before debating section 6. It says if the holder calls it due. So there may be cases where the lender does not want to call the loan due. I mean, the payments are being made. They're made every month, and there is no trigger to call the loan due. Okay, unless there's a default on the payment. Okay. So I think for a bit here, we may have some sellers. Matter of fact, Julie Albert on Sales Meeting yesterday has a seller that was really anxious to get a home sold, and they're willing to do seller financing for all or a portion of that. Haven't seen that for a while, but now we've got a property that's specifically being touted as seller financing. Any questions or comments about that? Don, you have a seller too that would consider seller financing. Yeah. Yeah, in Pat's comments in chat, guys, the idea of a contract for deed is the deed is held, and it's an attempt to not pass ownership on to buyers. These things make me extremely nervous, okay, because they can be argued, and as Mark yesterday used the word tenuous. And I love it when Mark uses legal jargon. And anyway, we certainly could create environments like that. So in this class today, I'm not giving any guidance right now on what we're going to do, what we're going to advise. I'm going to let the process play out as we revisit some of the legalities. This is going to come up. This is what we do. I mean, geez, when COVID hit, we had to write an addendum about force majeure, and then we had to write language about, do we get rid of the appraisal condition? And what does that mean? So now we've got a new challenge, and we're trying to cope with what are our options when we deal with higher interest rates loans, and do we want to do seller financing and things like that? Okay, now I guess now we have 3 sellers. Pat's got a seller, Don's got a seller, Julie's got a seller that are considering seller financing. Scott, I think we're going to have a lot of discussions about that. See, Scott's predicting that this is going to explode. I think we're going to have every seller is going to contemplate some form or fashion if they're, how do they take advantage of this? And I think we need some direction. I mean, geez, what if there was a law passed? I mean, what if there was a federal law? I mean, I don't know if you could do this legally, but if there was a law that was passed that said lenders cannot deny a new borrower a loan if they qualified under the same terms to assume an underlying loan. It just seems doesn't it seem odd to you guys? If the borrower qualifies at 7, why can't they qualify to assume the 3%? Can anyone make sense of that to me? I mean, right? No, everyone's quiet. Hey, Will's on to something. Yeah.
That would really help with a lot of my clients that are single or that are singles in the process of divorce, because you have one, either the husband or the wife, that wants the other one to buy him out. But
Yep.
they can't, so they have to sell. But if they can assume, it helps.
Yeah. Well, and I can understand not allowing any buyer or borrower to assume terms of a loan without lender's approval. I get that, but totally on board with that. But to not allow the assumption of a loan that was given back, when it was given, it seems maybe too lender friendly, suppose, maybe, I don't know. Someone in that whole cog is getting compensation, servicers or what have you, based on these loans, but they could come up with the cash. So we may be seeing wrap mortgages. Remember, a wrap is the idea to add either a first and a second. Wrap is more than one loan. Purchase, just get your terms right, guys. Purchase money mortgages are seller financing. Purchase money, seller financing. Wrap is one or more loans, okay? So we may see that, and we may see a combination of a first, a second, and a carryback, or we may see a first and a carryback. And right now we need some legal opinion on where we stand with this. We likely would need additional disclosure if any of our agents are having these discussions. Yeah, I get it. I get the investor who's holding mortgage-backed securities at 3%. It's hard. If we're in public office, I have the power. It'd be hard for me to get capitalism, but not a big fan of that view, but I get it. You know, I get it, but yeah, I don't know that I'd be wanting to pass laws that benefit major investment corporations who are investing billions of dollars into group securities, but I understand. Probably don't know enough about it, but anyway, it just seems very, very odd to me that we would allow lenders to process loans 2 years ago at 3 for people who qualify, and those loans cannot be assumed by other qualified buyers who had the cash to make up the difference. You know, just it seems odd to me. I can tell you NAR's perspective of this is they agree with what I just said. So they said in the 90s that, I mean, all the legal entities said we were asleep at the wheel when we allowed lenders to not allow assumable loans, that, you know, we missed it. We didn't have a voice loud enough at the table, and the lenders just made the rule. So there you go. Anyway, good discussion on that. So look, we're going to come back later and talk about the availability of seller financing and what we have to look at. That's the new world we're entering into. I'm going to put a bow on this class, guys, but before you head out, just something to think about. Let's make sure that we celebrate the fact that the harder it is, the better it is for us. You know, at Berkshire Hathaway, we had a lot of resources. We were coming out of a really hot market where, you know, do we need all these services? Well, we do now, don't we? We certainly do now. We need everything we can to get these properties sold, and our sellers are celebrating that. So we go out there to help someone. We should be very, very positive about our ability to get positive results. We've never tried to be cheaper. We tried to be better. And the reason we want to be better is so we climb any of these mountains in these market conditions. And you're poised to do it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do love you all. Pray for your success and your personal growth along the journeys that we're all going through. It's a great result to have a challenge that you learn from as you look at things differently and become a better professional. Hope you celebrate that. Remember, you become what you study. So study something and become something great. And I know you're doing that. So I applaud you for that. And make sure you rest and disconnect a little bit and hug your kids. Take time for your spouses. Express gratitude. Don't just have it, right? Get a little exercise. Eat something healthy. Although I had an amazing chocolate cake last night. It was incredible. But I did run this morning to try to burn that bad boy off. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks for being so great to work with. I love you as teammates, each one of you. Let me know if I can help you in any way, okay? All right, have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.